Oh, and welcome to our E3 2017 analysis. You've got myself, Apps, here, running the operations as per usual. And I'm joined by a man who's probably the least qualified to be in this conversation. It's been a while since we've had him on. You will remember him. It's Pac-Man himself. It's Tom Adcock. How you doing, mate?
I'm good. How are you, mate?
Very well, very well. So you're back on the gaming scene now for all intents and purposes. You're slowly kind of easing your way back in with The Last Guardian.
Yeah.
And but you've been, and correct me if I'm wrong here, pretty much out of the game or out of the loop, I should say, other than the Dimp digital content that you've been subscribing to, listening to, waiting to be invited back.
Just
Um,
consuming daily.
just
Couldn't get
yeah,
enough. Yeah.
as everyone is. But for all intents and purposes, you've pretty much been out of the loop when it comes to gaming, haven't you?
Yeah.
Well, I was hoping for a little bit more than just yeah, but that's obviously a little
Yeah.
bit rusty after a few years. That's fine. It's going to obviously the pressure's obviously getting to you a little bit, but the reason why I thought it might be interesting to get you in is because you're not as perhaps fatigued as some of the other members within this industry. Because obviously, like for me, I watch and listen to everything or nearly everything I can. So the stuff that I kind of pick out as my favourite bits or the things that made a mark on me with an E3 are likely to be a little bit different than what you are. So hopefully you'll offer, as you put it before we came on air, a sideways look at E3 2017. Now this will not be a complete and utter full breakdown analysis of everything that's happened. We're just picking out some of the bits that have interested us over the week and sharing that with you. Let's kick things off with some VR because I know that's an area that you're very interested in now that you're back in action. Before we get to go into what's probably caught your eye, if you're going to look at a head-mounted display in the future, what's the most likely VR headset you're likely to get?
So I guess there's two avenues of thought. It
Hmm.
really depends when I'm ready to commit. So if it's this year, it'll probably be PlayStation VR,
Yeah.
and that's really from a price standpoint, I guess.
Yeah.
And then if I wait longer and invest in a PC, then it'll be one of the more high-end headsets, I guess.
So that'd be either the Vive or the Oculus.
Yeah, yeah.
Needless to say, you during Bethesda's press conference or conference, whatever they call it now, Spotlight as Nintendo called theirs. Um, you picked out Doom and Fallout 4. They've got VR versions in the pipeline are coming. What was it in particular? Looking at Doom, because I've played the original Doom. It's very fast paced. It's very off the walls. It's mad basically from start to finish. This you could see they had adapted fully for VR. Like the way you moved around was more like teleporting, and I guess that's to try and mitigate the potential for people to have motion sickness, which is what people would suffer with, I'd imagine, playing a game like Doom natively. What was it about this particular trailer and show off that got you pumped? Was it the fact that it's got the Doom name on it and it's in VR? That's enough.
Yeah, well, I've never played a Doom, so I was
Yeah.
really intrigued when they rebooted it or launched one on the PS4. That's something I really wanted to play, and the fact that
Mm.
I've missed it and that's old now, to jump on board, on a fresh sort of. Well, I don't know if it's not a remake, is it? It's its own thing. It was clearly slower, like you said, and
Yeah. It's like a side, like a spin-off almost,
yeah,
using VR as a platform. So I imagine the
yeah.
characters are all different, and the story will be different as well.
I just think it could be, a really fun way of playing the game. I mean, obviously, I'd wait for more information and reviews, but yeah, really interested. And yeah, I think I'm interested in VR. And then obviously, if I'm going to invest, I want to know games are coming out. So I'm kind of,
Yeah.
I guess, pumping myself for just something. But
Yeah.
it's a franchise I'm interested in. I really like the one that came out a year or two ago. Missed that. So the
Yeah.
fact that I can play this one in VR, hopefully on release potentially, I think that's exciting.
Yeah. And I assume it's similar for Fallout 4. I imagine you've obviously seen and heard a lot about Fallout 4 being this huge franchise and Fallout in itself since Bethesda kind of took it over. And to see that, this one's like a straight port almost. It is the full Fallout 4 experience in VR.
So my question then with that would be, again, I'm really excited, but do we know if you can dip in and out of the VR, or is it full
Well,
VR experience?
no, we don't know actually. It's a very interesting point. Will they? If you already own the game, will they patch it with a VR mode? So if you can just play that for free, or is it a separate standalone? My gut feeling is that it's going to be separate, and it'll be VR only. But I'd love to see them, if you've got to pay for the VR version, I'd love to see that they bring a mode where you can just switch out of it as well, because I've played Farpoint round Biff's on his PlayStation VR it's got a light gun, you stand up, it's quite engaging, and honestly after half hour, 40 minutes you're done. It takes its toll on you because I'm just used to sitting down doing nothing and relaxing whilst playing games, and this was like an actual test of physicality. So I'm hoping that's what will happen with Fallout 4 VR.
I feel like for Doom, it's fine. I imagine it's going to be a 12-hour campaign or something you can dip in and out of for half an hour, 1 hour stints. But Fallout's huge. Like
hundreds
I don't know.
Of hours.
Stuck in that. I mean, I really want to play the Resident Evil VR. That's what I've said to myself with you, I think.
Yeah.
So if I can get through, that would be like the benchmark. If we can get through that and it works and it's doable over a full campaign, then I'll know where I stand for sure on these kind of VR titles. But yeah, I'm very excited for both at the moment.
One thing you might not have seen, it was in the Sony press conference, is not the announcement, but I think everyone knew this was happening slowly, but there's going to be Skyrim VR coming to PlayStation VR.
Okay.
So not only is it going to land on the Switch, there's going to be a PlayStation VR version of that great big RPG, another game that you said you'd missed earlier, so perhaps that's something to look into when they look at doing it. But Bethesda themselves look like they're quite interested in the VR space and experimenting with some of their more well-known IPs and dipping their toes in, which is good. Let's move on to probably the biggest. But going into E3, this is probably the biggest story people wanted to know about. They wanted to know about what Project Scorpio is. We kind of had an idea of what it is, but more around the pricing, how's it going to work, what's it going to be called, what's it going to look like. And what we got was the Xbox One X coming in at a solid 450 UK pounds. Release date of the 7th of November 2017. That is this year. First off the bat, the name Xbox One X. You digging that?
No. It's confusing, isn't it? Where does that fit in? I can imagine a kid in 20 years looking back and being like, right, where do we go? Where does this start? What's first?
Yeah.
It's just,
It is a bit silly.
Yeah, they just need to start a game with it. It's ridiculous. Xbox One, 360s, X.
Yeah.
What order is that?
I'll be happy with them just eventually just calling it the Xbox and then the year that it's released.
Yeah.
Xbox 2017 done.
PlayStation nailed it, didn't they? Just if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, you got the PlayStation 4 Pro, which ain't the best name if you to ask me.
That's true.
But Xbox One X probably worse. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't have any bearing on it. I read somewhere or I heard somewhere, and again, I'm not going to bother validating this, that it's the 10th console they've done. Like they've had like different versions of the Xbox One already, the Xbox One S. So including that, the Xbox 360, the Elite, and then the original Xbox and those versions. This was the 10th one, so it's like a Roman numeral. But I don't know if they were that clever to figure that out themselves.
Bullshit, man. I reckon they were so lazy. Someone was just in at night watching X Factor. Went, X,
that'll get them.
Someone tied it together with the other one. Went, we can kind of hamstring it if we count the Slim. That's 10, so
put that in there. So you've got the Xbox One X, which is the all singing, all dancing new Xbox One console. They made it very clear that this is not a new generation, that this is an extension of the Xbox One family. They kept saying that was the word that Big Phil likes to use. This is the Xbox One family, and that's what we're stuck with. It's 450 UK pounds. You said you had some thoughts on it, so I'd like you to share what those thoughts are exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it goes against popular consensus. I think it might, but I actually am quite interested in this. I mean, I always said I wanted to get an Xbox One, play the exclusives. I know they're few and far between. I guess I was originally thought I'd pick one up, cheap. You can get them relatively cheap now.
200 quid you can get an Xbox One normal or an S, knocking around 220 with a few games. So
that is good, isn't it?
It's double nearly.
But this is then, would be for me. I mean, the great thing is, I think, is that I don't know how much it is bullshit marketing and things, but the fact is, you like with the Nintendo 2DSs and all of that, they're out there. They're not saying you have to go and buy them, especially in
No.
this case where the same games have been released.
Yep.
So for me, having not had an Xbox, I can either go in the budget end and just pick up all those bargain games that I've missed now, probably for, minus 20 or sub £20. Perfect.
All three
Or
of
I've got
them.
the option now of coming in right at the top end of the market,
Mm.
treat myself to a 4K TV once I'm employed, which will be a while. And then obviously I've got all those cheap games, back catalogue games I can pick up. And then every game that comes out that's exclusive, as long as they're going to bring out some decent exclusives, I can play them in, 4K resolution. Hopefully, the best way to experience those games. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can understand where that comes from. For me, I've got an Xbox One. Um, the only reason I'm even considering the X is because I've got some money on my game account to kind of offset it. So
Yeah.
my outlay will be less than the 450. So that's the only consideration. But otherwise, I probably wouldn't bother. I don't think, not straight away anyway. And my problem is, and it's not really a problem. This is more really nitty gritty. I don't. This is just the facts are that there were two games on show that were third parties. There was Assassin's Creed Origins, which I think looked really nice. I like some of the ideas they're doing with that game in terms of the gear, progression, attributes, and that. I really like the look of that game. Although it looks like it plays a little bit too much like the last games, and you think, well, 2 years out of the game, is that what you've come back with? But that and Anthem, which is BioWare's that's the A-team BioWare, their new IP that they showed a demo of. There was a breakdown done by Digital Foundry that said they weren't natively 4K. They were using this thing called checkerboarding, which kind of is dynamic 4K. So some of it's 4K, some of it isn't.
Yeah.
I don't think many people who haven't experienced 4K regularly would be able to tell the difference. But their whole thing was that this is all going to be, everything's going to be native 4K, and I think the third parties just aren't going to do that. It's going to have to rely on the likes of Forza, which they showed off again, Forza 7, and their first party stuff. That's the only stuff that's going to be full 4K.
Right.
Having said that, the 450 or 450 UK pound price tag, I think people would struggle to find a PC equivalent.
Yeah.
So that's where they're selling it really, is that although it's more expensive than what we've paid for a long time for a console, if you compare it to the high end or the mid to high end of a PC, you're struggling to put together something that's going to be able to compete with that.
Yeah.
But then again, remember, every Xbox One exclusive now, or first party, comes to PC as well. So if you've got a high-end rig, you just dump. If you've got a nice high-end rig, you don't even need to bother with this.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, for me personally, I think the consideration would be whether this could replace at a cheaper price, like me getting a high-end rig.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I just don't. I'd need to think it through because I prefer the exclusives on PlayStation. So then I'm thinking, right. So if I got this, I can get all the Xbox exclusives, but then they would be the only ones I would be getting. Would there be enough? Yeah.
Whereas if you had a PC, you could play the Xbox or the Microsoft exclusives, I should say. They're called, they're not Xbox.
Yeah.
And the PC stuff that doesn't come to consoles. So
but
that's the
twice
title.
The price I'm paying, I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the trouble.
But it's something I'm definitely interested in and definitely going to keep my eyes on.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you think it'll sell? Do you think it'll sell well, or do you think it'll be slow going? Sony said the PlayStation 4 Pro, they shift for every PlayStation 4 that's sold, 1 in 5 is a Pro, so not a great attach rate there. Do you think this will be similar or worse in people shipping out?
I think similar but worse, if you know what I mean. So maybe like a slightly. 1 in 7, because I feel like Xbox are slightly behind PlayStation in sales anyway.
Yeah, sure.
And then I feel like the Pro is like an easy get if you haven't yet invested in a PlayStation, and you can push up a little bit. You're probably going to go with a Pro for the storage and whatnot.
Sure.
But it's such a big jump, and then you've got the middle entry console now as well, haven't you? So you're kind of dividing it. So maybe even like, I don't know, 1 in 8 or 9. Yeah. But I think that's good. The fact that they're getting it out there and giving people options.
Yeah, you're right.
I think it can only be a good thing, really.
Absolutely.
As long as there's not. The thing is, it's just if they stick to their mantra of all games will play on this. It's easy for them to say that now, and then all of a sudden, this time
Yeah.
next year saying we're developing this one game that's, it's going to take in all the, the specs, and it's this one-off project, sells well, and then they run a whole line of games that are only for the
The
X.
X or the Pro, yeah. Or,
Exactly.
yeah. We'll have
So
to
it
watch
must be
that
tempting
space.
for developers to do that if they
Oh,
can,
absolutely. Because it unlocks a load of new. They're still hamstrung in having this kind of family approach by both Sony and Microsoft. They're kind of hamstrung that they've got to make it playable on
yeah,
the younger platforms. But to be fair, if you look at the PC space, things are scaled from like low to ultra on the settings, so they can just, it's just adjusting that, I guess,
yeah.
making sure that it runs smoothly on all platforms. And then if you've got a X, everything's a little bit more crisper, looks a little bit nicer. But
But how would that work in like FPS space, for instance? Like, could people have an
yeah,
advantage playing on the better machine?
well, this is the thing. I think with PC, generally, you can get unlocked frame rates for
Yeah,
things like that. So it is what it is there, depending on your PC. But for the console space, I think you'll only ever see games either locked at 30 or locked at 60. There
right.
won't be a disparity, I don't think. Single player games, they can do it, I think, because then, it's giving
Yeah, yeah,
people the option. It's not affecting anything. But with a competitive multiplayer game, you'll get people's backs up if, I don't know, Jimmy down the road, whose mum bought him an X, has got 60 FPS and you've only got 30. That'll get, competitive people's backs right up. You want to have a 11 playing field, otherwise it becomes a little bit toxic. That's just my opinion. I don't know what
No,
they'll
no, I
do, but
agree. Yeah,
I think the Destiny 2 is a good example. That's going to be unlocked on PC, but on consoles, any console, it's locked at 30 because the normal PS4 and Xbox certainly can't do 60, so they're not even going to bother trying.
right.
But there, that's Xbox One X, and we will no doubt discuss that later on in the year when it becomes, when it's starting to be released, and we'll have a look then and see what people's thoughts are there. Let's get into some games. Now, EA's press conference I wasn't overly impressed with. There was not a lot really there. FIFA's doing the Journey Part 2, so you can continue Adam Hunter's story. There's a Switch version of FIFA coming. That's being built from the ground up, new engine, so it's made specifically for the Switch, which I think is a good thing. But there is no story mode in it, so a bit of a killer that is. Madden's getting a story mode, so good. More sports games adding story modes, thank you. That's what I've been looking for. I want EA Sports UFC 3 when that eventually arrives to have a story mode. I think that's a great way to do it. But the thing I think that stuck out for both of us was this smaller title. It clearly wasn't AAA. The graphics were good, but the art style was a little bit more playful than it was realistic. And it's a co-op only game, so you can play this either locally or online, but you can't play it on your own. And it's called A Way Out. Haze Light are the development team. Never heard of them. They're a brand new studio. The guy that's leading it actually was the creator from Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. But I sent you this particular trailer and gameplay demo because I thought this might be up your street.
Yeah, absolutely is. Um, I found the game actually. We were talking about this offline.
Yeah.
Even though gameplay wise it's completely different, it reminded me of an old 360 game that was called Army of Two.
Oh
Don't
yeah.
you
Yeah.
remember it? I don't know why, but just the way it was played, like just the two of you playing those like campaigns. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a really good concept. I can't believe someone hasn't tried it before, and I'm surprised it's EA that have like gone for this. The fact that
Bankrolled it,
yeah, like I'm really fascinated to know like if it's you're hemmed in or if it is kind of more multiple ways to kind of get out of the prison and then what
yeah.
you choose to
Yeah.
do after that. It seems like a really interesting concept.
Yes.
Um, I wish we knew more about it, to be honest, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm keen on this. I think it's a really, really good, fun idea.
Yeah, well, they're saying it's due to release in Q1 2018, so that's miles away now, but it'll come around quick, and I'm sure we'll see more on it. But I'll echo a lot of your thoughts there. I like the fact that they're so committed to this idea that you just can't play it as a single player. Like you can't just switch between the two characters like you would probably do in a more a game that was taking less risks. I
Yeah,
like the fact that they are just going, look, this is what it is. We are a firm believer that this is the best way to play it and the only way to play it. Like it or lump it. And like you said, EA don't typically bankroll risks, but this looks like one where they're giving the creator and the development team full reign over how it plays, because you can bet your bollocks if EA had their fingers on this, it would be definitely single player. There'd be an online and multiplayer bloody competitive mode, all sorts. So very happy to see something like that of EA. That was definitely my highlight amongst all the Star Wars Battlefront, amongst all the Battlefield, Need for Speed Payback. That was the one that stuck out to me, and I thought that is a good job.
Yeah,
So
because
I think
there's
it's
been some like overhead 2D like prison escape type games that I've seen.
yes,
I can't think of the name of some of them. One
The
maybe a year.
Escapist.
Yeah, one done really. Yeah,
Yeah,
is that yeah? So if they like, if the thought of like planning ideas with your friend and putting them into action and seeing if they pay off could be like really good, but it just
yeah.
depends how much freedom they give you, I guess, to get out and how much the game is split. Like how long are you in prison for versus
Well, yeah, they showed footage of you outside
yeah.
going through like crazy chase, and I was thinking, how big is this game? Like, if it's only 4 hours, then I think we're going to be a little bit disappointed because it's not going to be a lot of freedom there, is there?
Yeah. I wonder
But
if
it
it's going to be almost based on the concept of like Prison Break season 1 and 2. So you've got,
just merged in, yeah,
yeah, like you've got the breakout and then you've got like a chase across the states or whatever, to some kind of
yeah,
escape to finish. I think that'd be really nice. I think those 2 seasons of that TV show were some of my
yeah.
favorite TV ever. I love that idea.
Yeah, it's definitely got some Prison Break vibes, and it's ironic that it's come back this past year, and it's by all accounts dreadful. So hopefully
I haven't
this
seen it.
I haven't seen it, but someone said don't bother. I've got it recorded. It's one of those things where it will get watched eventually. But yeah, that is a way out. Shadow of the Colossus, perhaps your favourite video game of all time. It always seems like it was destined. This was going to appear at some point because you're playing through The Last Guardian now, which
Yeah.
is kind of like the third game in that famous kind of trilogy from Ueda. Blue Point are going to be. From what I've read and seen, people describe this more as a remake than a remaster because they're building it from the ground up.
Yeah.
Um, Thoughts, because this is very close to your heart. Any concerns that they might be meddling with the Holy Spirit that is Shadow of the Colossus?
Um, Not really. I believe they've got quite good pedigree of doing
Yes.
remasters. So they done the PS3 one, right?
Yeah,
Just the
that is their gravy essentially. Blue Point,
okay.
and they've done the Uncharted games as well, I believe.
So no, I don't think they're gonna make a mess of it at all. I mean, do we need it
Yes,
remade a second time? Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it is one of my favourite games. I'm quite happy, I think, personally, if
I'm
they
getting it.
remake it. Yeah, if they keep it current for every generation for the next 50 years,
That's
probably
fine.
I'd be invested. I mean, it's a great game. It's beautiful. I mean,
Mm,
yeah, and I mean, definitely needs some updating with the controls and cameras, I'm sure. So if they could fix that and make it more playable for like a 2017 audience, I think it's a really good thing. It's a game everyone should experience, and
yeah.
yeah, go for. I
How's
mean, price point would be a concern for me. Maybe I don't think I'd
right,
want to see it at £50 or £40, which they could,
right?
29.99.
That
Then
sort of
yeah, I think that's great. I mean, I don't know if that's what they're thinking, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if we need I don't know if we need it, but I'm on board for it. Yeah,
excellent. There's not really a rumor, but more of like a thought that's come to people's head because originally I think Ueda and his team were looking to have a lot more Colossi in the game than there is. And there's people kind of now saying, well, it's a remake, they've got a lot more resources. Could they add in the missing Colossi that didn't make the cut from the original game? If that was to happen, how would you feel about it? Or would you be like, no, don't touch anything like that? I'm happy with you brushing up the controls, making it look nice, making it run smooth as it can, but don't fiddle with the structure of the game.
it's a good question, isn't it? I mean, because if they popped one more in, I mean, it's not. I mean, it's difficult. One more could be seen as just like a fun point or an unlock on a second run through or something. I mean, I feel
Yeah.
like
That's a
anyone
good
like
idea, actually.
yeah, I think like
Complete the original, and then have the additional ones like a bonus afterwards.
yeah, I mean, because it's so minimalist that game, I feel like it's
Yeah,
difficult because basically I feel like you have four fights cutscene, four fights cutscene.
yeah,
Every fourth or something, you get a very brief cutscene. So adding one in might disrupt the flow slightly. And then
mm.
what? You add another four in to then completely do it. I feel like any
It's
purists
a
are just going
25-hour game, then, isn't it?
yeah, and any purists are just going to say they're the worst Colossus,
Yeah,
regardless of if they
how
are
good
or
they are.
not. There's
Yeah,
oh, it's not as good. So they're on a hide into nothing, really. I feel yeah, throw a bonus one in maybe on a second playthrough or something. But I mean, the
yeah.
game's it's never going to sell bucket loads anyway. It's probably going to
No.
be majoritively the people who have played it once or twice buying it a third time.
Yep.
So there's no need. It's not going to, another Colossus isn't going to make Jimmy down the road go and buy it, in my
No, he's
head.
not, is he? No, Jimmy
So
down the road won't be getting that.
my heart says just leave it, but just, yeah, I'm quite happy to fix it. It's the same thing as well. Like, even the controls, if you fix them, purists will moan. They'll have to probably throw in
Yeah.
a original controls
Like I did with
set
Resident
in,
Evil.
yeah, and then
The
a
newer
modern
ones.
one, which is fine. I mean, why not again? Give people options. You can't complain then.
Yeah. Just for information, you can pre-order this. I don't condone pre-orders, but it's currently up on base.com, which is like a UK site. They're normally pretty cheap, for £34.99. So
Okay.
it looks like it's coming around that point. It has got save £5 on there, so I think the RRP might be 40.
Okay.
But usually retailers knock a fiver off. That's sometimes a tenner. So it's worth keeping an eye on that if you are definitely interested.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll be there.
Evil Within 2. Now, we actually, many years ago, did a podcast, and one of the main subjects of that podcast was the Evil Within original. And I was really hyped up thinking, all right, I want to hear Tom's thoughts here. Massive horror fan, Shinji Mikami back in the survival horror space. And you kind of put a bit of a damp cloth on it all and said, oh, it's not that great, it's rough, the story's a bit shit, just some shit cop, all that stuff. And I was like, oh dear. About a year later, I went away and I borrowed it off you, and then played through it and actually quite liked it. I was on one of the more positive side of things. But I was surprised to see the Evil Within 2 then appear on this kind of list that you'd given me, because I thought you may have washed your hands of that franchise after the first instalment.
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted to like the first one. I think I just got involved with the hype train a bit too much. I think that's a
Yeah,
dangerous game to play. The less you
yeah,
know, the better half the time. I think that's, yeah, why we had such opposing views. You had nothing but negative information to go on, and then it's never going to be as bad as that. Whereas I, in my head, thought it was the second coming, and obviously I was left
yeah,
flat from that. So yeah, no, and I mean, I like horror games. I like the Resident Evil games, so I'll always be keen when anything like this comes out. And again, I mean, development team, they've got pedigree, so hopefully they can iron out some of the issues they had with the first one and get it right with this number two. I like the trailer; it looked nice.
yeah.
Um,
It did. They showed a bit of gameplay, and I think it looked a little bit actiony, but I totally understand why you've got to do that in a video game trailer, because
of
no
course,
fucker will be interested if it was just him walking down a spooky corridor and something jumping out. It's just not what people want to see. So, and to be fair, the game did have a mixture of action and survival. It's survival horror, but
yeah,
there was action in it. It was, resource management was like the survival part of it, and it kind of, I thought it mixed it up quite nicely. The
yeah. And I
original
think
for
now
that,
that
but
survival horror as well has gone down, taken a sort of turn with like Resident Evil 7 and
yeah.
Condemned and whatnot going first person. There's the space for this now. It works. So yeah, I think this is it's a good shout for them to get funding for a second and see what they can do with it.
Yeah, it's good to see a game like this actually get funding for a sequel, because typically they don't set the world on fire,
Ah, they're
these
binned.
games, and they are binned. Like you get one entry, but good to see Bethesda sticking with the Evil Within and getting that out there. And it's coming the 13th of October,
Yeah.
Friday the 13th. They've gone for that old coal, but yeah, it's coming this year. So in a
Well,
matter of months, there's a chance for us to sit down and play that. Whilst we're on Bethesda, actually, they closed their press conference. I know we're jumping around here, but it's just the order we've got the games in. They closed their show with Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, also coming this year, 27th of October. So that's two Bethesda published titles within a month. Hands up, I did not get on well with the original Wolfenstein. Not the original, sorry, like the reboot that came out a few
yeah.
years ago. And I understand I'm totally in the minority there. People love this game. They felt it was a breath of fresh air to single player first person shooters, which is it's strange for me to say that and then not be as impressed with it. I actually gave it a Binet rating, the original.
Jesus.
So it's on that list. It really didn't resonate with me. However, it resonated with you, Wolfenstein 2.
Yeah. I mean,
Quite a long demonstration and trailer, but look, to be fair, like I said, I hold my hands up. I didn't like the first one, and I'm not going to sway that opinion. But I am willing to try the second one and go again with this franchise, because I think there is something in there that maybe I missed first time round, or that I just didn't resonate. It might do now.
yeah. For me, I've never played Wolfenstein.
But I think
No.
this was probably my favourite trailer of E3. I loved it.
Yeah.
And unlike you, but like you, I've heard really good things about the franchise or the reboot. So,
Sure.
yeah, totally on board for this. I think it looked great.
Yeah. Another one coming this year. So that's what I like at E3. I like stuff to be seen at E3 and then come that year and
Yeah,
have a
it'd
solid date.
be nice to get some more information in the next few months on it. And I guess, yeah, if it's coming out relatively soon, we should have some hands-on pretty
Yeah.
soon too.
Yeah, well, that's one of the troubles I have with E3 is we saw, and in particular with Sony's press conference, there's a lot of stuff we saw there, great games, great looking games, but the games that had already shown us last year at some point, and none of them were coming this year, and I was a little bit flat at the end of Sony's one because although they showed me Spider-Man, although they showed me Detroit Become Human, although they showed me God of War, and although they showed me Shadow of the Colossus, Monster Hunter World also, none of that was coming. Or Days Gone. Bloody hell, I forgot about that. None of that's coming this year. So it's
Yeah,
hard to get excited about it when you know that there's no finite release date on it. So that's when Bethesda turn up, to their credit, whatever they turn up with, there's always at least one title coming this year. They've done it with Fallout. They've done it with Dishonored last year. They've done it again with 2 games this year. I think that's the strategy that I like anyway, on a personal note. Nintendo Spotlight, 25 minutes long. Reggie wasted about 8 minutes talking bollocks. What was they doing? You've got 25 minutes. Don't have him there talking bollocks to us about an arms competition. We all wanted to see Mario Odyssey. This not even. That's what we were there for, weren't we? And
absolutely.
they left it down to the wire and eventually showed us. But my word, I do like the look of this game.
It looks mental, doesn't it?
It looks mad. That's what I like about it because it completely looks like it's off the walls, and I like that.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, how the hell do you even think of new ideas for a game that's been out, 35 years? But
Exactly. But they
yeah,
do
I
it.
mean, they've mixed it. It looks undoubtedly like Mario, but like
Mm,
nothing you've ever seen before as well. It looked great, basically.
yeah. What
Mm.
do you think of the old? They showed off quite. We've seen it in the kind of teaser stuff they've released earlier, but they showed what the hat can do, and it's got a name, and I've forgotten what the name of the hat is
Oh
now.
yeah,
But you can use it as a weapon, and you can also use it to kind of take control or take over your enemies, and you then control them, and they help with the puzzles. What do you think of that? Because that's an interesting concept in itself, especially for a Mario game.
yeah. I guess it is. They've probably not done anything like that before, have they? In
No.
Mario, no. But I mean, it's been done. It's a pretty standard Nintendo concept in sequels. I think like Zelda's done it, and I mean,
Yeah.
Samus always has new abilities and things. So yeah, I mean, it's great to see like new innovation. I mean, 'cause I guess like the last few Mario's have all been quite standard in kinds of abilities
Yeah.
and things. So yeah, it's nice. I mean, the fact that you're taking over a T-Rex and then a human, I have no idea how it's going to work, but
No.
yeah, I
Don't,
mean, it's a cool concept. I mean, and I'm sure they'll implement it well. And there's a lot of different worlds, so I guess there's going to be a lot of fluctuation with this. It's not going to be a, you know, one trick pony that they're going to roll out everything. I mean, the
yeah.
different characters you take over are so different that they must open up new puzzle pieces and just from a control standpoint be completely different, I guess.
Yeah, it's called Cappy, I think. The hat
Happy,
Cappy,
that's it. Yeah,
because you can buy a version of on the Switch, obviously, of this, and you can get the hat with it,
obviously. Yeah, probably about
50
12
quid.
amiibos as well. 50 quid.
Uh,
That's
yeah,
actually not
50 quid.
bad for the game as
No,
well.
not no. Yeah, for the hat as well. I think it's a collector's edition that has other stuff that is a lot more expensive. But
That's
Cappy the
actually
hat,
alright. I'd
you
get a
can get with
cappy
it.
for 50.
Yeah, I was thinking that you couldn't really wear it anywhere else though, could you? It's not
No.
usable. Not like my statues that are in this room in here. But yeah, really excited for that. That's coming October. Is that going to be the one that kind of breaks the 27th of October? Is that going to be the one that kind of breaks your resolve on buying the Switch? That's going to be the one that goes right. Day one, Super Mario Odyssey, Cappy the Hat, and a Switch. Thank you very much, Nintendo.
It's looking that
Um,
way, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Because I got Breath of the Wild on the Wii U. I want to see that puppy out with a bit of style that it deserves.
the Wii
So,
U, yeah,
yeah, so I've missed the
that's
boat
good.
really for Zelda. So Mario is the next logical like purchase with a Switch. The only other thing though is to potentially wait till after Christmas, maybe for a price drop. But maybe I'm
Sure.
dreaming if it's going to be that soon with a Nintendo console that's currently out of stock most places.
Doing well,
Yeah,
which
probably
is
go
good
up
to
if
see.
anything.
But imagine that.
Yeah.
A lot of those Nintendo, those NES
Oh
minis
yeah,
that
yeah.
go on eBay for about 300 quid. They cost 60 quid.
Yeah,
Madness.
I mean, purely from a personal standpoint, I've got quite a big backlog of games that I'm definitely going to get through. So
Yeah.
that might hold me off. But otherwise, if I,
Get
if I get
involved.
yeah,
Play it on the go. Commuting
exactly.
done.
If I've got some money burning a hole in my pocket is it October?
Yeah.
Yeah, then it'd be a nice time to come in. I think it'd be pretty cool because I don't know when the next big launch is after that. You're probably not going to have. I guess maybe Metroid, perhaps. I have no idea, but we could be waiting a long time for something big.
Yeah. No. It'll probably be a little while, I'd imagine. There's probably something in the works, though. They've done all right at scattering out the big ones like we had. Obviously, launched with Breath of the Wild, and that was a Wii U as well. Then we had Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Then we got ARMS. Now we're going to get Splatoon 2.
Oh, of course, Splatoon, yeah.
Yeah, little gap, then Mario, and then perhaps next year we'll get some more. But
You'd wonder if they're going to get something out for Christmas, but I guess not
this
looking.
is it. I think this is what they're doing. It's late October, so it's nearer. It's basically
near
November.
Thanksgiving, the kind of yeah.
Yeah. So I guess this is their Christmas game. You want to kind of, I guess it's difficult to think of a release date. It's so packed in Q4.
Yeah.
You don't want it coming out in December. It's too late. November is just full of stuff. October generally is like the sweet spot, I think, for those kind of bits and pieces. September's too early.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be good times for everyone. I've seen the Treehouse demos they've been doing. It looks great. Previews are all buzzing for it, so bring it on, is what I say. You mentioned Metroid there. We had two announcements. Well, we had one on the stream, which was Metroid Prime 4, just the logo. So just letting us know it's in development. People have been asking for this for donkey's years. They finally get it, and it's just been announced it's in development. I don't think there's going to be... I think that's years away, that one. 2 years away, minimum. And then we find out afterwards that Retro, who developed the first three, aren't doing this one. So I think that's put a bit of a sting in people's tail.
Yeah.
What about you? You got it listed. Why is this interesting you? Is it just because of the name Metroid Prime? You know it's good, and you want to get involved with it?
Yeah, kind of. I've always been keen on Metroid, like in theory, but I've missed them when I was younger, and they were in my shame pile actually, the Primes, and I've been playing Super Metroid on the 3DS. It's really good.
Sure.
So, yeah, I think this is great fan service. I think this is what people want, and it's calling it Prime 4 and keeping that series going is sensible because it's really the premier part of the series in the last 10 years anyway.
Yeah.
So
But do they want it without Retro though? Because you have to hang your hat on the studio as well that do these things.
Yeah, of course. I mean, is it a brand new studio effectively?
Brand new. Yeah, we don't even know what they're called yet.
No, I mean that is a sting, I guess, if you're a big fan.
Jimmy down the road don't care.
No.
Jimmy down the road's not going to buy Metroid Prime 4 though. Metroid Prime 4's for all the fans like you said, for the last 15 years or so. I just want to know what Retro are doing then.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Like, what are they doing with that studio? Like really talented developers just.
What was their last game then? Do we know?
I can find out for us, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Retro do like the Donkey Kong games, don't they, for sure? And
that's it. Yeah, exactly. Look, great games.
Yeah, it seems weird, doesn't it? You would think though. I feel like Nintendo, they're quite good at just loaning the producer or director or whatever out to the studio, someone to oversee it and make sure it's coming along nicely. I think that I can't imagine this would be a dud, even especially the fact that they've made a couple of subpar Metroid games. I think in the last the last couple, maybe the one for the Wii and the one for the 3DS, both weren't really up to the standard that's been set by that franchise. So I think they're going to want to really make this a hit. So I think the fact it is a sting for sure not having Retro on board, but I don't think there's really anything to worry about. I think this is going to be a big hitter for sure.
Yeah, Tropical Freeze was their last one, Retro.
See, that was years ago.
2014.
Yeah.
So it's enough time to have started something and been able to announce it.
Yeah,
I just hope they're not doing what Microsoft did with Rare and the 360 and just put them on shit like the Kinect, didn't they?
Yeah.
Do you remember they make all these weird Kinect games? It's like, what are you doing? Why have you bought that studio and then gone, right, go and do that? and half of them left. And
Yeah.
made ukulele, which was
Poor as well.
good to decent. But
Wow.
yeah, it's
a killer when they do that. Really, he's like the Death Note. There's no point, having these great talented people and just having them not doing what they do. Really, it's silly.
I like what Sony did with Guerrilla Games, because Killzone, very average in my view, first person, run of the mill, like show off the PlayStation technology, bring a Killzone game out. Guerrilla will do it, that's fine.
It's the first game I got on my PlayStation.
Yeah, well, most people's it will be. But then eventually they kind of, like this last year or 18 months to 24 months, they said, look, go away and do a passion project, and they come out with Horizon Zero Dawn. It's like, let the developers do something they're passionate about, because more likely this is going to produce good results.
Yeah, that is a jump in quality, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, because they weren't constrained by doing bloody Killzone.
Yeah.
But yeah, good to see. Good to see that Metroid Prime at least is in development. I mean, it'll shut people up for a while at least.
Yeah.
And then Metroid 2, Return of Samus, nice little remake on the 3DS, perfect platform for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's got to be something you'll maybe consider. You've still got your 3DS.
Yeah, I love it. I just actually beat Contra 3 last night.
Wow, there you go.
Dead hard, yeah, done it.
Wonderful. So is that going to be on your radar whenever that drops?
Yeah, I mean, maybe a price point again. Those games can be expensive for what they are. If it's like full price, which it probably will be, I don't know, I sort of begrudge paying it for a handheld, and they don't really go down. That would be the only sticking point for me. But yeah, like I said, I've got Super Metroid. I like it. This one looks really nice as well. And yeah, I think it's, again, I hear the big Metroid fans, some people argue that 2D's better. There's a lot of like fan remakes, not fan remakes, but like the Axiom version. You see that? Like love letters to that, like Metroidvania style of game. So some people like that version, and then others like the 3D. The fact that there's one of each coming out, I think it's perfect. Keeps everyone happy. And as you say, perfect platform for it. Shows that they're still going to support it, at least for the next, year, 18 months, probably.
Yeah.
But
which someone like me who hasn't got a 3DS and who's only got a Switch is like, get off that and put it in the Switch. But
yeah, it's a strange one, isn't it?
It's in too many people's hands for them to ignore it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
it's up there, so you got to... And I'm not being funny, it's not going to be easy to transfer a 3DS developer into going onto a Switch. Although it's got a handheld component, it's still got to look good when they blow it up on the telly.
Yeah, but the quicker they do that, that's when the Switch is, they need to transcend it over to free up the studios. If they're just, that was the whole, a big point of making it a...
one pipeline.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So it's kind of a difficult one. I guess they're in a bit of a grey area, as you say, when you've got, 18 million people or whatever that's got a 3DS and 3 million with a Switch. It's going to have to be a bridging point until you can just shut that down, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention before I basically do a rundown of what I liked? I won't go into depth. I've discussed a lot of it here, but is there anything before we kind of move off your little list that you wanted to desperately mention? And
not particularly. The only one I feel like we've probably skipped over, but I'd be more asking you what the hell it was the Mario and Rabbids.
Oh, Rabbids, yeah.
Rabbids, yeah. I watched the trailer. I still don't really know what I saw.
It's turn-based strategy games. To me, the easiest way I can describe it is that it's like a Mario light-hearted version of XCOM.
Okay.
Very highly rated games, XCOM. I've got both of them. Played the first one for 2 hours. Incredibly hard. Incredibly... And there's fail states in it. So you could play for 12 hours and bodge a few missions. You got to bodge a few more than a few missions, but you can get to a stage where it's game over, and then you've got to either start again or go back to a very early save, because the point at where you kind of made a mess of it, you need to correct it at that junction.
Jesus.
So it's hard, and I'm struggling with that. That's why I haven't picked it up for about 6 months. But what I'm planning to do is play the first one until I hit that fail state, because XCOM 2, the canon, if you will, of XCOM 2 is that you lose in XCOM 1.
Okay.
So I'll feel like I've done it correctly, because I failed the first time round. But yeah, this Mario and Rabbids Kingdom, it's called. I didn't know what it was when they were first reeling it out. I was struggling a little bit. And then when they showed the combat system, that's what first struck me. Is it's a turn-based strategy game, essentially, where you use cover and other elements, such as probably height and things, to dispatch of your foes. And
So
in the meantime, you walk around with Mario and the Rabbids.
So is it just like a reskin then of this XCOM, do you think? Or
No, I don't think so, because there's a lot of menus in XCOM. It's all menu based until you go to a mission. Whereas this, there is a kingdom there to explore. So there's bits where you're walking around, almost like a little, a 3D, not a 3D Mario game, but one that's been running around, like Super Mario Brothers or something that's been running around on the Wii U or the Wii. And then you kind of hit these battles, from what I can see, and then it kind of triggers this change in the gameplay.
Fair enough. I mean, it's cool that they're partnering with other people, and it looks like fun.
That was the main takeaway for me, is that I'm surprised that they're willing to let another studio have such a access to one of their most beloved IPs. Like Mario is in the title.
Yeah.
And I imagine they've got people there sort of overseeing it, making sure it's not complete shit. But it's an odd one. And actually, when I watched the press conference, they had Miyamoto come out, and the main guy from Ubisoft, I can't remember his name, unfortunately. Sorry, mate. But Miyamoto is more famous. And it's quite nice, actually, seeing two, what maybe have seen as rivals before in developing software, sort of come together on stage and have fun with it and say, look, we're doing this really creative new idea, mixing our two IPs. Here you go. It was nice to see, because often things are so, like, developers, when they're in public, just pretend they don't know each other.
Yeah.
And it was nice to see that, actually.
That's true. Yeah, it is good. It's good. They seem to be sticking to their word of like being a bit more open with this kind of thing. So it's good to see. The Switch isn't very old, and they're already, as you say, loaning out some of their best assets. So yeah.
It's good to see Ubisoft putting some games on the Switch as well.
Yeah.
So people outside, although it's got the Mario tag on it, them putting games on it is a good sign, because they haven't had that support in the Wii U, especially towards the end. It all dried up.
Oh no, but Ubisoft were one of the only ones to do any
start
support.
Off.
Yeah,
Zombie U. Yeah. So they've always been. It seems like there's always been a bit of synergy between Ubisoft and Nintendo.
Yeah,
it's good to see that. I think it's good to see that, because you can get good things with this. Who knows? Mario and Rabbids Kingdom might be great. I know Mr. Paper is up for this.
Excellent.
So
yeah.
Maybe we'll see what he thinks of it. But I'll just reel off now a load of stuff that I kind of picked out from each of the press conferences. Star Wars Battlefront 2 multiplayer demo they showed off. I was really hyped for this game, because they have a campaign, and the reason I didn't buy the first Battlefront was because I said no campaign, no buy. I've kind of gone back on that now, buying Overwatch. I think there is a case for it in some circumstances, but I was really pumped up for Battlefront 2, what they'd seen, like introducing all the Star Wars eras, playing a campaign from the Emperor's side rather than the Jedi light side. I think it was good. But all they showed off in the EA press conference was just like 20 minutes of a multiplayer game, and I was like, don't care about that too much. I want to see the campaign. I thought, well, they're in bed with Sony. It will appear in their press conference. Didn't. So a little bit disappointed on that. A Way Out we've mentioned. Need for Speed Payback looks like the Fast and Furious. They've completely scrapped the old idea of what Need for Speed is, and they're just trying to find the current trend, I guess, with what's going on. Looks like it had a little bit of Burnout elements in it, which I'm a fan of, but I don't think I'll be too interested in that. Battlefield 1 DLC, still bring out DLC and supporting that game, although they're getting money for it, I guess. FIFA 18 we've mentioned, Madden we've mentioned, NBA Live 18 coming Q4 2017. Those that are fans of NBA 2K will probably still turn their nose up at it. Microsoft had Anthem, which they closed with. Looked good, but I'm very aware that was a complete and utter, best case scenario. Everything was pre-planned. It was probably just that vertical slice of the game, so we could be in for another downgrade gate when it appears next time in full live gameplay. Hope not. That's the BioWare 18. Assassin's Creed Origins. Finally, they've taken a break. It's been 2 years. Ready to have a go at this. Egypt seems like a good setting. You can kill crocodiles, hippos. You saw a little bit of this, didn't you?
I thought it looked good. Yeah, I've only ever played Assassin's Creed 1 and 2, so it's been a long time for me. So I could get bored with this. Yeah, it looked good.
Yeah. You haven't missed much. To be
no,
fair. I haven't played them all. Crackdown 3 they showed off again. That is coming this year. the 7th of November. Looks didn't look as compelling as I thought it had, but I haven't seen the multiplayer side of things, which has got a full destructible environment. Forza 7, that's their kind of, this is what the Scorpio can do, this is the game. Strangely enough though, Crackdown launched on the same day as the Xbox One X, Forza 7 launching a month before. So can you imagine if you wanted to play Forza on the Xbox One X and it was available before, would you be you kind of think, oh, I want to wait until the Xbox One X is out so I can play like the ultimate version of this game. I think it's a little bit weird.
It's a bizarre, 4 weeks. Surely just put that back and have it as a launch title. That's really odd.
Because when the Xbox One X launches, you kind of want to have a bit of a splash of it, don't you? Here's the Xbox One X plus, here's 2 games, Crackdown and Forza. You can't get them anywhere else unless you've got a PC or Xbox One. Optimised for X, look great, but I don't know. It's Phil Spencer, not me, doing that. Cuphead has got a release date, much to the dismay of the Marvellous Thunderbuzzards fantasy draft team, because that was one of the ones we was kind of hoping it wasn't going to come this year, because we have fired, I think, 2 blanks at least on that, which could be the end of it. I will schedule in a catch-up with Mr. Hall and Sir Dave in the near future to go through what's happened. Ori and the Will of the Wisps, so Ori and the Blind Forest sequel, looked fantastic. 2D, superb-looking game. Life is Strange Before the Storm, that's a prequel to Life is Strange. And I was pumped for this. I was thinking, yes, more Life is Strange. I love Life is Strange. And then, much like Metroid 4, I found out that Don't Nod Games aren't developing it. The guys who did the original. It's a team called Deck 9. Never heard of them. So a little bit concerned about that.
It's a worry, yeah.
And one of the, I mean, this is not a spoiler of Life is Strange, but one of the main things about Life is Strange is that you can rewind time. Very early on, you can do that, and that kind of plays into your choice management. Because you can change your mind. You know, like Telltale, you press it and you think, fuck, didn't mean to do that. This gives you the option to change it and you think, oh, that's probably going to be really boring. But actually, it makes it more agonising because you can choose. You can go back and try it again and go, oh, no, actually, now I don't know which one to choose. But this one doesn't have that.
Right.
So one of the main hooks of it is gone, and it's a different developer. Worrying.
But nice that they're trying, hopefully, something new, like, keep it fresh.
Maybe, yeah. You're right. Shouldn't get down on it without playing it. But 31st of August, 2017 for that. I will be.
Oh wow!
That.
Yeah, same.
Only 3 episodes, so it's gonna be like a little mini series. But up for that, definitely. Metro Exodus demo shown off. Looked superb. Haven't played Metro Last Light or Metro 20, whatever it is, the first 2. Have got access to them on PC. Should play them. Will try and play them before Metro Exodus comes. Looked nice on the Scorpio that did. Minecraft, they're doing a 4K update for that for Xbox One X. One of the only games you probably wouldn't need it for, but why not? Why not have that? And they're doing cross-platform play. I think with everyone apart from Sony. So if you've got a mate that's got it on PC or even Switch, which is coming, or is already arrived, you can play with them.
That's nice.
Yeah, that is nice. Yeah. I think that's more Sony. It's Sony that don't want to play ball.
Right.
It's not that Microsoft excluded them, because we had this months ago with Rocket League, or probably last year. They were saying that we want to open up our servers so you can all play with each other. So there's a bigger community, and Sony were like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope. We don't want to know about Xbox. We'll play with PC players, but not Xbox. And it's like, well, because the Microsoft guys are up for that. But if you're winning 2-1, why would you even lend a hand? I suppose to those.
Yeah.
Player Unknown's Battlegrounds coming later this year to Xbox One. You've been out of the game a while, and I wanted to ask you about this. Have you even heard of Player Unknown's Battlegrounds? Because it is taken off on PC like almost like a DayZ.
Never heard of it. Nope.
Basically, the concept is it's like Battle Royale.
Yeah.
So you've seen that film.
Last Man Standing. Hunger Games.
I think you can form small teams as well, so you and your buddies can be a team.
Yeah.
Drops you on this massive map. You start with nothing. You can build up your armory by picking up guns, weapons, vehicles and whatnot. And the way they kind of make you engage, so the games don't last too long, is there's a big red circle around the map, and every few minutes that closes in and closes in. If you're caught outside that zone, once it closes in, you die. You're out the game. So it kind of forces everyone to converge.
I love it.
On this central point, and then the winner is the last person standing. Now, I have seen lots of videos. I think it looks a little bit janky, but people are loving it on the older on the PC. So let's see if it takes off on the consoles. Sea of Thieves had a nice demo that's come in 2018, so I thought that might come this year, to be honest. But co-op only pirate game. Who knows if that'll be any good. State of Decay 2, spring 2018. I'm very interested in this. I liked the first game. This will have online cooperative play as well. It's this really cool thing actually you can do that when you're out in the world. Say you get into a spot of bother and you kind of ram yourself into a house. There's zombies coming in. If you can fire off a flare, it then sends out like an invite to players within the internet who can then join your game to help you out.
Nice.
So it's kind of like you can call for help.
Yeah.
Like you can summon in a Bloodborne or Dark Souls. You can do that in this. And I thought that was a really good idea. A good way of like introducing sort of online co-op without it being, you know, in your face, like going to a menu and do it. You
Agreed.
go,
Yeah.
oh. But that's something to, you know, I'll be keeping an eye on. Bethesda, we've done a lot of Bethesda, Evil Within and Wolfenstein, the two main bits. Dishonored 2 is getting a standalone expansion or a spin-off, 15th of the 9th, called Death of the Outsider. And they also announced, I want to know what you think about this when I explain it to you, Fallout 4 in particular, and I know all Fallout games and Skyrim have a huge modding community on PC, and the consoles have now got it. So, you know, you know that you're familiar with the concept of modding. You can go, but what they're doing is they're releasing this thing called Creators Club, where there are mods that are curated by Bethesda and kind of play tested to ensure they're compatible, but you have to pay for the mod. They're no longer free. What do you think of that?
Yeah, they've caused a lot of issues with this, haven't they, in the past, trying to get money for mods.
They tried it before. It's just been dressed up again.
Yeah. Let's just leave it alone, really, shouldn't they? There's no need.
No.
I guess the only... I mean, I don't know because I'm not a PC gamer, but can some mods affect like your save file and your progress and things? Like
absolutely can corrupt your
Yeah,
save game,
okay.
and especially when the developer goes out and updates the game, so does like a patch. That's when that typically happens. So I guess with this, they'll be playtesting the mods, making sure that when they do an update to the game, it doesn't knock all the mods out of sync.
But as we stand at the moment, mods are still free and they're still fine to get. Like, who's got the appetite for a paid-for mod package?
Because you're still going to have to get the free ones. They're not taking them away.
Yeah.
They're just saying, oh, there's some premium mods here that if you want to, you can pay for. And you don't even pay for it like transparently. You don't just go, right, a tenner, thank you. You have to buy coins or like a currency to get it. So you go on the Xbox store, you go on the PlayStation store, you go to wherever, buy 600 coins, and that gives you, you know, access to how many mods are available for that price.
Yeah, I don't like it. I feel like it's maybe like testing the water. You know, like a first step going again, trying to make it a pay-for service. So no,
they're trying it.
Yeah,
trying to pull a fast one, aren't they? I think Ubisoft had the best press conference of the lot. They ended with Beyond Good and Evil 2, which huge hype and anticipation for. I've got the original on Xbox 360 backwards compatibility. It's one of the free games for Games with Gold. I think Uplay, I think I've even got it on there. But this looked, the trailer I watched, I don't understand the game still, but it looked good.
Yeah, it looked like a movie. I have no idea. I've not played the first one, so...
No, well, this looks like it doesn't play anything like the first one, but it's just kind of using that world.
Okay.
So it's a prequel to the first one, so I guess you can get away with not bothering. Again, prequel, don't call it Beyond Good and Evil 2, because 2, is it? It's do an Origins, something like that. But yeah, it seemed like it's very character based. I guess what I took away from this, and I liked the look of the characters, and they basically said they're going to create like a sci-fi space opera game where you've got freedom to do whatever you want. GTA in space, I saw, was one of the quotes that came out this week.
Sounds great.
Seems that it's going to be online as well, so totally departure from what Beyond Good and Evil the original was, but massive hype for that. Skull and Bones, I like the look of. It's basically Sea of Thieves, but you can't go. It's not co-op, so you don't. It is co-op, but it's not. You run your own boat with one player. It's basically Assassin's 4 Black Flag naval combat ripped out. I put into a game that you've got competitive multiplayer with. I quite like the look of this, but everyone else seems to say it looked like shit, and I was like, well, I like the look. But it's one of those ones. If it hasn't got a single player element this substantial, and no one else is going to buy it, I'm not gonna. What it is. This is the For Honor, the next For Honor. That was a very multiplayer focused game. And this is the vibe I got for that. But I love the naval combat in Assassin's Creed 4. My only hope of a single player element was at the very end of the trailer they showed a Kraken underneath one of the boats. Thinking, ooh, maybe that's part of it, but we'll see. They showed off a really weird VR game as well, Ubisoft, called Transference. It had like Elijah Wood talking through it, and it's coming next spring to PC VR systems and PlayStation VR. I don't know what it is, but it was kind of like looked like they plugged you into a machine essentially, and you're going through like hallucinations and trying to figure out what's reality or not. But miles away, no point really even talking about it. The Crew 2 is coming back. That was wildly kind of hinted at beforehand. The original Crew was just the hook of that was you could drive across America essentially.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
Huge open world, and they've stepped it up in this one. They have said that you can now do cars, planes, boats, motorcycles, any form of kind of like motorsport or motor out there. You can do this with. So it's a complete departure from the first one, but I think it was necessary because I don't think the first one resonated with people. Like the idea of travelling across America in a car sounds interesting, but
yeah,
not with Ubisoft driving physics, obviously. Steep will be getting a expansion around the 2018 Olympic Winter Games, and that's probably about it for Ubisoft. PlayStation 4 had a shitload. They just done games. They've done a pre-show where they announced that GT Sport will be coming later this year. Odd that Gran Turismo Sport was left off of like the main press conference, because that's a very famous franchise.
That was one of their big hitters, like early in their console lives, wasn't it? Yeah, strange.
I remember that was the first thing I kind of saw on PlayStation 1, or I think it's PlayStation 1 I had GT2 on. I thought, wow, the graphics on this are like nothing we'll ever see again.
No, it was a console seller, really, wasn't it? It was.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, star.
Demoted to bloody pre-show alongside NAC 2, which is coming September 5th. So that's the sort of company it was knocking around with. Uncharted: A Lost Legacy. I said to you this earlier that it was an amazing trailer, but I'm so desensitized to them producing good content now, Naughty Dog. I didn't even consider it as a highlight because I just expected it of them. So that's coming later this year, August the 22nd. Horizon Zero Dawn, a game that you need to catch up on for sure.
That's on the list.
That's on the list. That's getting some DLC called The Frozen Wilds, so I'll be probably picking that back up again. Had a nice little 12 minutes or so gameplay trailer of Days Gone, or a demo. Biff is really interested in this one. He said it's going to be the next big thing. I think it's got some great ideas there. People will be like, oh, it's just like The Last of Us with open world. It's like, well, it's got zombies in it, I guess.
It's not a bad concept, though, is it, really? I liked it.
No, I think it's a great idea. One of the biggest shockers, and this is not a Sony exclusive, but I'm just shocked it's arriving like in this format, was Monster Hunter World.
Oh, yeah.
Formerly just 3DS. You've got one of the Monster Hunters, haven't you, on 3DS?
Yeah, I have.
Any interest in playing a expanded console version, which obviously can take advantage of more power than the 3DS?
I'd like to revisit it. To be honest, it's got a huge following. People love it, but I think I'm on the opposite side of the fence. I found it slow and clunky and quite difficult to get into, and it's a real life sapper. I don't know. In fact, I've actually tried to play it twice. I had it on the Wii as well, whichever version that was, Monster Hunter Tri maybe, and me and a couple of friends actually tried playing it, but without headsets and things, it was really difficult we ended up using our Xboxes to actually communicate, and then it was ridiculous. So we had like a party going on that to then play through our Wiis, but it's difficult. But on like a new console with some new ideas, maybe make it more Western friendly. I think it's quite, in depth and Japanesey. I found it anyway. So I mean, I like the idea and the concept. I mean, I've tried it twice. Why not? Third time's a charm. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It does look a little bit more Western. I think that's what they've aimed for, knowing that it'll at least look Western to get people in the door. But I've always been begging for a Monster Hunter game to come on the Switch, because that's my assumption was they will stop the 3DS,
Yeah.
Capcom, and they'll go for the Switch, and then I'll be like, yes. And it's not coming to the Switch, which makes me wonder why that has happened. They've obviously don't trust the Switch as a platform. Maybe they'll bring their own version of it, but
Yeah, it seems funny because it's such a popular franchise. It was a strange one that they didn't ever port it over to other consoles, really.
no, odd one.
Yeah.
Marvel v Capcom, sorry, Infinite got a story trailer. The main announcement for that was there's a story demo you can download now. We saw some Call of Duty World War 2. We saw a lovely long trailer of God of War. I know you didn't see it, but this looks fantastic. Disappointment though, again, like I mentioned earlier, early 2018 release, not a 2017 release, so got to wait till next year for that one. Detroit Become Human. Do you remember when we done our greatest games of all time?
Yeah.
Probably the best content we've ever done at Dimp Digital. And I mentioned there's a little game on there called Fahrenheit.
Oh yeah, I do remember it. Yeah.
This is the developers, Quantic Dreams. This is their latest game. So after Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls on the PS3, this is coming, called Detroit Become Human. What's worrying about this though? It looks really good. I like the ideas of it. I know the other two games didn't get very good press, especially Heavy Rain, but I like them. I like these games. My worry is, again, there's no release date on this one. There's nothing. Nada. Doesn't even say 2018. Don't even lie to us. Could be fucking years away.
So late
Destiny
next year, earliest then, I'd think.
Yeah. Unless they do like a Gamescom and then go, right, it's coming out this year, and just holding it back for that. Because you think they probably are saving some things for Gamescom, and you've got PlayStation Experience in December.
That's true, yeah.
So they've got to hold some stuff back, I guess. Destiny 2, they debuted a trailer. Really was not interested in the trailer whatsoever. Getting the game, though, I think looks fantastic. The funniest part of this was at the end, it listed off all the exclusive content you get with PlayStation. So you get an exclusive strike, an exclusive exotic weapon, exclusive skin. And I was like, how much more obvious do you want to try and push this, that this is the place to play it? And they're all, the strike is a big deal because that's the whole mission, but the rest of the stuff, maybe the exotic weapon aren't, the biggest deal in the world, but they try and sell it like it's the be all and end all. Ended with Spider-Man. Looked good. Lots of QTE though, quick time events. But I'm interested to see their take, Insomniac's take on Spider-Man, and like the fact that I don't know if you've seen it, but he's got like a white spider suit rather than like black, so it's like their own take on it. That's how they've identified that it's their one. Looks a bit weird when you first see it, but I like the fact they kind of put a little twist on it, putting their stamp on it.
No, I wanted to see it. I heard that there's 1,000,001 things you can do with the webs. They said it was like really creative.
Yeah, but like again though, it's more like just press R1 at a kind of like an object, and it all
does it all for you.
Yeah, but how else can you do it? It's impossible to make a Spider-Man game and make it as complex as what he's doing.
Yeah,
got to make it accessible. That's Sony, and then Nintendo have done Super Mario Odyssey, obviously. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, probably not going to get snarled up in that. I know you were sniffing around that because of X and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's a big game. Another Kirby game, waste of time.
Not waste of time. I've never been interested.
I like the idea of Kirby, but I've just never I've got time for them. But this was Mario I wanted to see. I didn't want to see this. But one thing that they did announce, which is a bit not weird, but considering they had a Pokemon-specific direct about a week ago today, was that there's going to be a core RPG Pokemon coming to Switch. It's like, why didn't you just do that last week when you told us that Pokemon Stars or Pokemon Sun Ultra and Pokemon Moon Ultra were coming to 3DS? And everyone was like, right, you're shit, you've not brought it to Switch. Pissed everyone off, and then a week later, like, yeah, we are doing something. So that's what they do. Metroid Prime 4 we've done. And also the remake of Metroid Prime. Yoshi, just called Yoshi.
Excellent.
Looks like Woolly World Yoshi, but he's coming back. Fire Emblem Warriors. Legend of Zelda expansion pass, there's going to be some DLC. 2 bits of that arriving this year. And obviously Mario Rabbids that we've discussed already. One of the big ones that is coming from a third-party perspective is Rocket League. So that's on Switch. Great game. Multiplayer focus, but superb game.
Yeah.
And that's probably it. That is all the stuff, really, that was at E3 that I picked up at the press conferences. Now, I know there was loads of you know, the most interesting stuff isn't actually those press conferences. It's all the streams they do the next day. All like the good gameplay is hidden in there. But the streams are 7 hours long.
Yeah.
There's a Nintendo one, an Xbox one, and a bloody Sony one. So it's 3 days worth. There's 3 lots of that.
It's too much.
It's near impossible to find it all. But that's probably what's occurred this year. What do you think out of E3? Obviously being away, coming back, first one for a while. Did it get you kind of excited to like hit the ground running and start like smashing some Last Guardian, getting back into the game?
Yeah, I'm really keen to get going again. And it is nice that, I get it from your point of view that like a lot of these games aren't coming out, well, some of them with no release date whatsoever. For me, that's kind of nice. It gives me a chance to catch up and get on board when these games come live, because I don't want to just keep buying more games and putting them at the back of my pile. I want to get through what I've got and then, start picking these games up on release. It'd be really nice. Nothing better than playing it when everyone else is. It just adds that extra 10% or whatever to your enjoyment, I think, when you can discuss it and talk about things when everyone else is playing. So I'm really keen. I mean, I don't think there was anything that really surprised anyone too much, but no,
there wasn't. That's one thing I would say. There wasn't too many surprises. Like last year, we saw God of War for the first time. We saw Days Gone for the first time. The year before that, obviously, we had Shenmue 3, The Last Guardian coming back. There was none of that this year. But there was a lot of volume.
Yeah.
Even like the PC gaming show, they do like a press conference, like a little talk show press conference thing. They kind of had a lot of games on there they were showing off. There's one in particular that stood out for me, was like they're doing a definitive version of Age of Empires. Like that old, I don't know if you've ever played that, but it's like an old strategy, very, very popular. So I think everyone had something good to show this year.
I think it was fairly solid. You've got some new hardware. You've got a lot around the VR space, which is good. And then, software-wise, there's nothing unexpected, but there's enough to get excited about, I think, for the next 18 months. It's good.
Excellent. Right, let's draw us to the close. It's run over what we agreed, but it is E3. So that is what happens. Mr. Pac-Man, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no worries. Enjoyed it.
Good to have you back, I think, is what people are saying after they're just about to put their iPod down or whatever. iPhone now, isn't it? No one has an iPod. Granddad. It's good to have you back on the team.
Thanks.
Many more happy returns and some more content coming. Probably the next one I'm looking at is some Last Guardian chat.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested to get your full take on that, and we'll perhaps do a full spoiler one on that so we can talk about that wonderful game, one of my favourites for a long time. But nothing more for us to say here, though, apart from thanks for your time and ta-da.